Hi folks, Dan the Wolfman here talking ballistics from the car, going off of videos from Boondock Ballisticians who I'd collab with, Gun Sam who recently did a video, and a lot more coming up with ammo I sent him for Christmas to test. My friend Greg LionQuest Fitness just put out a video, why carry a large revolver in the winter, extra velocity. That goes with what I've been saying with my Taurus 66 combat videos, 3-inch 7-shot 357 Magnum. And what Gun Sam just tested from short barrels going through 10 layers of heavy winter clothing. Oh, nobody wears that. I'm in the South, and I think I'm wearing that now. Plus, there's pockets that might have gloves or hoodies in them, as you see this old school UFC one right there, etc. Okay? So, 357 Magnum and 40 Smith & Wesson was Boondock's video, so I'll play off of that a little bit. Are things cyclical? I think 40 eventually will make a comeback. It would make a comeback if people stopped repeating stupid hearsay and realized what an awesome energy efficient from a short barrel cartridge it is, and what advantages it gives you in wintertime. And if someone came out with like a more modern, slimmer frame, some subcompact, like a stack and a half, like they did with the micros. Now you can't really do that and you need beefier, but instead of 1.3 inch wide, like a typical subcompact, maybe you could do a 1.1 inch wide, like a Ross Martin RM1S I have videos on, or the Henrichs Deltas I have videos on, etc. So 40 is a very efficient cartridge. Revolvers are making a renaissance. I wanted the sun in the background. I thought it'd be different. Revolvers are making a comeback. 357 Magnum has always been a good round for both woods and hoods. If you have to worry, if you're up in Alaska, you're up in Montana, Utah in the wintertime, and you got to worry about woods and hoods, you got to worry about two-legged and four-legged, 357 Magnum gets it done, especially from a 3-inch barrel. And Gun Sam just tested 2 rounds from a 2-inch barrel, so make sure to check out his short barrel heavy clothing, where he tested 9, 40, 45, and 357 Magnum from short barrels. Now, obviously, you really kind of want a 3-inch barrel with 357 Magnum, like my Taurus 66. Combat videos are going to go out and check and comment on right now. Well, not right now, as soon as we get done. But 357 Magnum, it's a very good cartridge, mostly because you can go, even shorter than 38 Special if you wanted to, 38 shorts or whatever. You can go mild to wild. And I have yet to have a lever gun, but I really want a 16-inch lever gun because I think you can do a lot with that. It's good for a car, slipping between the seats. It's good for home defense, for smaller statured people like Boondock. A 16-inch lever gun, 357 Magnum, can do a lot of good stuff. So, and ballistically, like with 125 Magnum, grain Magnum for home defense, great stuff. If you need to drop both 2-legged and 4-legged out to 120 yards, maybe, 158 grain or 154 HST is going to do it. I've done a lot of ballistics tests in my Paul Harrell tribute playlist. With 357 Magnum, I did heavy winter clothing. I did 4 layers denim, which is very, very hard on projectile designs, okay? 4-layer denim, IWBA, followed by 2 layers of t-shirt. And then look at Gun Sam just at a 10-layer. He's got a long barrel 8-layer coming up. It's really important data to have, and it shows you differences in calibers. Well, 9mm is just as good. From a full-size barrel with the bestest premium ammo, like a 124 plus P HST that has enough velocity to still expand, going through multiple layers of clothing, yes, it's pretty good. From your 3-inch micro 9, no. Going through all the layers I have right now, let alone going through an arm both sides like Miami-Dade, let alone if it goes through a pocket layer that has, like, this stuffed up and put in it. Okay, those are very, very different things. Is 357 Magnum a better man stopper than 9mm? Yes. All anecdotal evidence says yes. From long distance, how much more? I don't know. Deer hunters will certainly say it does, even if it's only like 200 feet per second difference. Shooting someone with a, like say pistols, a 6-inch barrel 357 and a 5-inch 9mm or something. You know, deer hunters have done that legally in many states. And there's a big difference, they say, in the tissue tearing in that first, 4 to 6 inches of the wound. Okay. But it's mostly the flash bang effect at night, what people think. But it's not only that. I say it's also getting hit with a blast. If you use paper targets, you like targets online, great targets for your targets needs, are thicker than most targets you buy at stores that are really flimsy. Those blow apart at 3 yards with a full 357 Magnum that they don't with 9mm, okay? So it's actually a physical blast. It's the flashbang effect from the cylinder. It's the loud noise psychologically that adds to a psychological stop. Plus, I have a theory that it's the higher energy, the higher EKE, which is the energy in the first 15 centimeters, that yes, FBI and Secret Service used to study when Secret Service picked their own 115 plus P plus, and then they quickly after that switched to 357 SIG, how much energy is actually energy dump. And people make fun of that term, but it was actually studied how much energy is deposited in that first 5.9 inches or 15 centimeters or E15 of the wound, EKE. So we do have nerves, especially by the ribs and the skin. We have a lot of nerves. And being the martial arts subject matter I know how fast hits can hurt. Now, heavy, slow hits like a 45 can hurt too, but fast, dynamic smacks, most people can't take a smack. They think they're tough guys. If I give them a fast smack to the stomach, their whole nervous system goes, oh shit, what was that? Bit theoretical. Did it do better long distance from California Highway Patrol? Actually, they said they were more happy once they switched from 357 mag to 40 Smith & Wesson, which is the other caliber we're going to talk about. 40's freaking awesome, and anyone that says otherwise are idiots with no recoil control, or they were LE and they used Glocks. And where a Glock 22 back then wasn't that bad, when you went to a 23, the ability to run it quickly and accurately went way down for most people, and definitely in a 27, because there were barrel swaps. They weren't engineered for it like a USP was engineered for, or a SIG P229 was actually engineered for the 40 Smith & Wesson. Glocks were just barrel swapped until Gen 5, where they beefed up the slide as wide as a 45 caliber slide at the behest of a certain Brazilian PD. So until Gen 5, and they probably won't be in Gen 6, 40s weren't actually engineered for it in Glocks. 40 is a very, very, very good cartridge. So you can go light. I wouldn't go lower than 150 grand. I know people are like, my Super Underwood 135s that are going to underpenetrate typically, especially if it had to go through an arm first, or a big, wide guy with 18 layers on like me would have to worry about such a thing. But it's a very, very good cartridge. And there's so many former police officers that comment on videos like mine and others that I read, and Gun Sam's. Yep, I got in 3 OIS and I shot a guy twice in the chest and he dropped like a sack of bricks without hitting the spine. He dropped from the power and the large expansion from the bigger diameter bullet, etc. 357, same thing. So is that ballistically terminally effective more so than 9mm? Absolutely. And hunters will tell you that. And 357 mag and SIG for that matter get a little more of the bang and the pressure hit at close range, like 5 yards and under kind of thing, where there might be a psychological advantage as well as blast and physiological advantage, and more tearing in the wound and more nerve sensation theoretically, perhaps. Okay, so 357 mag and 40 are great cartridges, especially heavy winter days like right now. It is 20 something degrees, even though it is bright, clear, and sunny, and I'm in the South. I don't know how many layers I have. A t-shirt, I think 2 thin long sleeves, a very thick long sleeve, a hugely thick sweater, maybe a bulletproof vest, maybe an actual hoodie on top with a huge thick winter coat on top. And, I'll be adding more later as the sun goes down. So, especially heavy winter clothing, very, very important. Look at Gun Sam's test. Look at me talking about it and my Taurus 66 combat videos. Really fun videos, the first one. Put a lot of really cool movie footage in it. Please go there. Always comment, guys. Check it out. Is it cyclical? It would be great if 40 came back. 40 is now cheap to shoot. I want a 10mm revolver so I can shoot 40. I do shoot 40 in a stub. Look at my videos on my Charter Arms Pitbull 40 is a great backup when it's cold like this. I like that because I figure that HST or punch from 40 is likely to expand and it's not going to shrink. 9mm that doesn't expand, or your screwdriver bullets, oh my god, FMJ with ribs, rib for her pleasure. Don't do shit. It's about diameter. Now, hopefully 40 is going to expand to like 68 in a HST here, 63 in a punch, and it's doing a much bigger wound through the entire wound path. Here's my 9mm, there's my 40, there's my 45. The bigger the wound going through the body, the better. 357 mag, it has always seemed historically, if you put a bullet into someone, even though it's not at 2,200 feet per second, stop saying 2,000 people, it's already, by the time it got through the dermis, way less than that. Stop saying 2,000. At least 2,200 to 2,600 feet per second. No, it's not that. But if you go above 1,300 feet per second, based on all the anecdotal evidence we have, back then 9mm kind of needed a 9B PLE plus P plus at 1,300 feet per second, worked really, really good. As long as it wasn't necessarily through a shoulder bone first or through vehicles first. Okay, obviously bullet tech through all calibers has gotten better as far as projectile designs, intermediate barriers. But 9mm back then, if you got it to 1,300 feet per second, okay, 357 mag. If it was from a long enough barrel, like 3 inches, where you might get 1,300 feet per second from a 125 grain frittable semi-jacketed hollow point, you are still getting man-stopping power. Okay? Or let's talk anything in the 125 to 145 grain. A 125 grain critical defense, kind of mid-recoil. I might shoot some of those soon. A 135 grain critical duty. The critical duties over-penetrate bad guys if it's from a 4-inch or longer barrel. That's according to a major metropolitan police and murder investigator. Blue Eyes, 135 critical duty from 4-inch or longer barrels will actually very commonly over penetration a bit. I've tested that. I've tested the Winchester Silvertip 145 grain. The choice of not only the FBI was there, if you got your guy to sign off on it, you could carry Magnums instead of 38 plus P FBI loads, but Navy SEALs were using it too. So 145 grain Silvertip, very, very good round. We're talking anywhere from 12.5 to 16.5 inches of penetration with about 65 expansion. And of course, those federal loads I've tested, but my early tests were through the 6 layers. I've done other ones since then. I've tested HSTs twice. 154 grain, great round. Probably the best round there is. And one guy just commented he loads his lever guns with it. Of course, HSTs are the best, but it's pretty heavy recoiling if you're talking a lighter revolver. My 66 Combat at 32.5 ounces, I carried it the other day for like 7 hours out of the house. Now my hips are hurting, but that's lighter than my other Magnums, but I can't fire the hot old school loads with any degree of faster than 55 splits with A-zone style hits in my like 27-ounce raw CRP 63. You need a mid-recoil round for something like that. And I wish more companies had lower mid-recoil 357 Magnum rounds. There's only critical defense, critical duty, Golden Saber, which is terminally. Maybe Covert X, though Gun Sam said there was a lot of blast. I haven't shot it. There should be more of those mid-power rounds. But from my Combat 66, I can load up the federal loads that aren't quite as hot as the old B loads that Sam has tested before I sent them. So 357 mag, still get it done. 40 definitely gets it done, baby, especially in wintertime. On the really, really cold days, you might want to keep those around. You might want to carry those. And for ammo gating times, you could still find 40 in 2020. It's still a good idea to have 40. I always forget, yeah, you could throw in a barrel and make it 357 SIG if you wanted to and vetted it. As well, that option is always there. Of quick note on 357 SIG, we'll wrap up the video. So 40 neck down, basically to 357 diameter, 357 SIG to give the same ballistics from a 4-inch barrel automatic that basically they were getting from revolvers back in the day when it was known as a great man stopper and 357 mag. 357 SIG, all departments that used it were pretty happy with it. Now it's slide velocity, it's going to beat up slides just like 40, and pistols not engineered for it like Glocks and Berettas gave issues after 10,000 rounds, which most civilians aren't going to shoot. 357 SIG, though, as far as stopping bad guys, they were all happy with it. As far as shooting in vehicles, pretty happy with it, though actually 40 is usually better because it's a bigger, heavier bullet with more retained momentum after going through the windshield, after going through the door to hit the bad guy to get deeper in the body. It's about getting deeper. Then 357 SIG hitting metal actually crumples in the nose on it. So 40 still is like a bigger diameter. Dealing with vehicles, 40 is still the best. It's probably what law enforcement should still be using, whether you want to carry or not. I carry 9 most of the year around. And, you know, there's also the option of having a 9mm with a very fast polygonal barrel like an HKP 30L with plus P plus gold dots. Not that I would ever do such a thing, to get 357 SIG or 357 Magnum ballistics from a bullet tough enough to take it, where I'm getting anywhere between 1,300 and 1,370 feet per second from a very fast 4.5-inch quality HK barrel. That is a very good option, and that's an option law enforcement should actually be looking at as, say, Spear, let's crank that bad boy up a little bit. Let's see if it does a little bit more. Drops bad guys a little bit more, or at least fibs, lets them know they've been shot. Louder, maybe more pressure hitting at close range, maybe a little more tearing in those first few inches, maybe a little more nerve sensation from EKE or, you know, kinetic energy, which really only matters if it mushrooms out, and then there's a pressure wave in the body to actually feel, I've been shot. 357 Magna is awesome. I don't have a 6-inch barrel or a hunted or anything, but certainly you could do that. It's awesome in a lever gun. I need to get one. Someone send me one. Hey, Heritage. I don't know if Rossi's, no, it's going to be the Heritage lever actions. Maybe someday Taurus will hook me up with a Heritage 16-inch and I can have fun. That other company kept promising me one and didn't come through, so I don't know. And 40, let's make a comeback. It would be awesome if a company would realize, project 5 years in the future and go, we're not dropping 40 with Gen 6. Maybe we need to keep 40. Maybe we can re-engineer some, I don't know, awesome micros kind of suck. Macros are kind of awesome. Let's do that 3.6, 3.7-inch barrel with a 12-round 40 magazine that's slimmer, like 1.1-inch, that can handle the recoil with good engineering. HK, that would be great if you did it, because certainly the P2000 can handle the recoil really well, especially once I drop my DPM recoil systems in there. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think of 357 Magnum and 40 down below. Make sure to check out Gun Sam's video. Make sure to check out Boondock Ballistician's video, and I didn't say penetration nearly as much as she does. And when she shoots, I love that she does a little hip shake and just to get extra viewers. And after, she's actually doing something without noticing it. She's shaking off the recoil from her nerves in the body, doing Systema. Anyway, blowing your minds right there. She's doing it without thinking about it. She shoots 2 rounds of 40 or 357 mag. She shoots a double pat, and she does her little Systema wiggle to send the energy down through her body and relax her joints. Mind-blowing. 40 is awesome. Anyone that told you it sucks is a fucking low-brain NPC that repeats hearsay and hasn't shot and has never done push-ups in his life. Also the same with 357 mag. Get yourself a Taurus 66 Combat or at least a 692 multi-caliber and be manly again, America. Let's make America manly again. And Ballistician, eat some peanut butter. Maybe we can work on those arms a little bit. Take care, everyone. Kaboom.